Hello everyone, today I'm here to do another recent reads video. My reading game has finally come back and I for one am very happy and hope it doesn't leave me ever again. So today's recent reads is going to be all young adult books and they're all kind of contemporary with the exception of one. One of those videos I take my most recent reads. I try to combine them all into one genre because I think it's just easier as a viewer for you to decide if you want to watch it or not. And I just tell you what the book is about, what I liked about it, what I didn't like about it, and my rating. They're all spoiler free. And again, if you're interested in hearing about one of the books, all the timestamps will be down below for each individual book. Today, the 4 books I'll be talking about, that's right, 4 books in this, are Good Girl, Bad Blood by Holly Jackson, What's Not to Love by Emily Wibberley and Austin Sigma Broca, Sunkissed by Casey West, and A Taste for Love by Jennifer Yen. So let's get right into it. So the first book is our only non-contemporary one, and that is Good Girl, Bad Blood. This is, if you can tell, a YA mystery thriller, and this is the sequel to her first book, which came out last year, called A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, and I really enjoyed it, and I feel like I can talk about this book in this without spoiling it because I wouldn't say it's like a sequel, more as a companion novel, so it's not pertinent that you read the first book, but I always recommend it because it's just easier that way. So the whole beginning of this whole series, A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, we follow a character named Pip who is like a high school junior, and she's like doing this project for school, and she decides that she wants to like do like a murder case that happened years ago at her in her town, her small town, that a guy got accused of murdering his girlfriend, and that was the end of it. And she wants to prove his innocence even though he has been deceased. And so the whole book is about her going through that. It's multimedia where you get to see her notes, you get to see pictures, you get to see maps. It's just really interesting. So the second book, it's not spoiling anything because it's a completely different case. Pip is like, I'm done. I hung up my hat for being like little Miss Teen Detective, and you know, she doesn't want to do it anymore because it cost her a lot of turmoil. You know, read the first book if you want to learn more. She also decides to release like this podcast of her case last year because there is another like ongoing court case that's going along with it that she wants people to like keep relevant on, if that makes any sense. But she doesn't want to like solve any new mysteries, shall we say, until one of her very best friends comes to her and's like, my brother's missing, I need your help to find him. And she's like, no. So she tries everything not to do it, but somehow she gets involved and is basically trying to find this guy named Jamie throughout this entire book. It's a whole book of like a mysterious disappearance of where this guy went, why he disappeared, what were his motives, and things like that. I really enjoy this series. They are fun YA mystery thrillers, and I usually don't like them because I don't know, I like more adult mystery thrillers, not a lot of YA ones, but I was pleasantly surprised by A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, and also this one. This one, I will say, I didn't like it quite as much as the first book, but the second half really took off. The first half of this book is kind of slow, kind of meandering. Like, I didn't really enjoy the whole case of trying to find where this guy went because it didn't make sense, and I was like, I don't get it. But the second half and even the ending of how it wrapped up and how it came to fruition, I was like, all right, I'm hooked. I am here for it. And this clearly makes way for a third book that I think that will definitely go off this one. So I would recommend this series. I gave this one a 4 out of 5. If you just maybe are not quite ready for the adult mystery thrillers, maybe they're a little bit too intense for you, I think these would be great ones to start with. They're fun, they're engaging. I bet they're great on audio. I don't listen to audio, so I wouldn't know. But like I said, they have multimedia in them. They'll have case files of pictures and maps, and you know, she really does her investigation. Like, she's very thorough, way more than I was when I was 17. I couldn't solve this at all. But I really enjoyed it. I really have quickly loved to come to Holly Jackson's books. I need to see if she's written any more because these are addicting. Like, there, I'll say it. I will say it. They're addicting. I enjoyed them. 4 out of 5. Love both of the books. First one slightly more because I just think I liked it just a teensy bit more. Even though I think I gave them both 4 out of 5. Maybe the first one I gave 4.5. This one I'll give 4. I don't know. Moving on. Next up we have What's Not to Love by Emily Wibberley. I always struggle with this. And Austin Sigma Broca. This is their, oh goodness, 3rd or 4th book together. I'm not 100% sure, but they write YA contemporary. And I have read all of them. I've enjoyed all of them. And I would say this is my favorite by them. It's a hate to love romance, which is my jam. I love hate to love romance. In this book, we follow a character named Allison who is really smart, really wants to go to Harvard. She's really applying herself. Think of like a young Rory Gilmore. And she has also a nemesis at school named Ethan. They are always fighting like who gets the best test score, who will finish this test first, who is not going to show up to class. They're always one-upping each other. It's quite juvenile, but high school. But when you get into those like tedious relationships where it's just like really one-upping each other, that's just how it is. So the whole book is about them like just not liking each other, always trying to defeat each other, and then their principal gets tired of it. She's like, I'm tired of this. And so she decides, I'm going to make you two work together to plan the 10-year high school reunion. And so they have to work together to plan this reunion. And of course, with all hate to love romance books, they get closer and realize that maybe they're more alike than they thought, and maybe they have feelings for each other, and so on and so forth. I did really enjoy it. Allison is a character that's a hard pill to swallow because she is so, I don't want to say one-dimensional, but she is very like set on her course for like going to Harvard, doing this, beating everybody. And she even has a sister in this book that has come home after from graduating college. She lost her job that she got, and her boyfriend broke up with her. And so she moves home to like try to, reset herself, try to find herself. And her sister Allison just thinks she's lazy and not doing anything and being complacent. And she doesn't talk to her sister until a long time in the book. And I'm like, you gotta like learn. There's different paths to life. There's not one path for everybody. And so she was kind of rigid at first. Like for a lot of the book, she was very rigid, and you're just like, let's calm down a little bit. But eventually she does. I love the relationship between her and Ethan. I love a good hate to love romance any day of the week. So I gave this one a 4 out of 5. It was enjoyable. It was fun. It had that hate romance. It's like if the hating game probably was in YA, I guess you could say, because that's how much they loathed each other at the beginning of the book. And gosh, it was fun. It was a fun read, I'm not gonna lie to you. Next up is one of my favorite YA contemporary authors of all time, Sunkissed by Casey West. This book is not my favorite Casey West book. She has written a whole bunch of them. She's written so many books. I've done a whole author's video on her if you want to check that out. But I have favorites of hers, then I have some that I don't really like. This one was just kind of okay. I didn't love it, but Casey West does summer reads perfectly. This is a perfect book to read by the beach, the pool, outside, wherever you want to be. It's a perfect summer read. So in this book, we follow a character named Avery, and her parents take her and her sister to kind of this, I don't want to say it's not like a camp because the whole family goes. It's kind of like a resort. It's kind of like Dirty Dancing. It gives you a lot of Dirty Dancing vibes, It's like this upscale resort for like families and things like that. And so she goes, and Avery's always known to be kind of go with the flow, like whatever, she's cool as a cucumber, she's good. And her sister says some things that kind of upset her, and she thinks maybe I do need to like live outside the box. And so she meets, I forget the guy's name, please forgive me. She meets this guy that works there that's in like the camp's band, I guess you could say. This almost sounds like Camp Rock. It's not, but they just like perform at dinner and stuff, but they want to be bigger and they want to win this music festival. And she's like, hey, I'll help you out with writing some lyrics to a song if you help me kind of be more adventurous. And it kind of goes from there. So it's definitely got that Dirty Dancing vibe, but obviously like younger. But it was enjoyable. I gave it a 3 out of 5. It wasn't my favorite Casey West book. It was cute. I feel like that's all I can say about it. It's just got that kind of camp, summery vibe. A boy and girl meet. They learn things about each other. It's like quick to fall in love. That kind of cliche stuff. But I enjoy it. I enjoy Casey West books. They always make me smile. I always read them super fast, and they're just always usually a good time. So I gave it a 3 out of 5. Not a bad rating at all. Just kind of right in the middle. The last book I'm talking about today is A Taste for Love by Jennifer Yen. This one came out earlier in the year, and I'm finally now getting around to it, and I'm realizing now they're drinking boba. Never had boba. Should I try it? I really want to. So this book is about a character named Liza, and Liza has Taiwanese parents, and they own this bakery and restaurant. Like her name's Liza Yang, and so restaurant is like the yin and yang bakery restaurant. It's really cool, honestly. And she loves baking. That's like her passion. But her parents obviously don't want her to do that. They want her to go to college. They want her to be, you know, a doctor or a lawyer and things like that. And Liza's like, I don't really want to do that. But college is around the corner. She thinks maybe she can prove to her mom that she really does love baking and can make it a career, because her mom has like this big baking competition every single year in Texas. It's a pretty big deal. And so she decides to help out with it and maybe to prove her mom that, hey, like, you know, this is a real deal for me. And when she gets there on the first day of the competition, she realizes that all the contestants are young Asian American men that her mom obviously is trying to set her up with. One of them is James, who she's met before, and they do not get along. He loathes her, she loathes him, but of course, like all romance, YA or not, you'll see that they have more in common, that they may like each other and things like that. It says, Liza begins to realize there's no tried and true recipe for love. So it's a super cute book. It's got like kind of a Pride and Prejudice retelling to it, while also a heavy, heavy dose of the Great British Baking Show, like kind of in it, because the way they judge and things like that, I was like, goodness me, this is like watching an episode of Great British Baking Show, which I'm not knocking at all, because I love that show. So it was cute. If you love baking, if you love learning about, you know, the Taiwanese culture and things like that, I would recommend this one. I gave it a 4 out of 5. Super cute, super easy to read, super enjoyable as well. And I really enjoyed Liza. She was very caring as a daughter, as a friend, and as a person, honestly. And the romance was also super cute as well. So I enjoyed it a lot. So there you have my thoughts and feelings on 4 recent YA contemporaries, YA books that I've read recently. I would love to hear if you've read any of these. Did I convince you to read any of them? You know, things like that. I hope you enjoy these recent reads, because I quite enjoy filming them. Hopefully I'll have like a romance one coming out soon. Fingers crossed. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.